Get close to the microphone.
Sorry, we'll start with a request from your partner, Steve, who basically wanted to check with you and Gordon just basic questions like, if there was anyone in the world you could lick chocolate sauce off, who would it be?
Alive or dead?
Your choice.
I have in my office, in my house in Henderson, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas, a really sexy shot of Marilyn Monroe. So that's my dead preference. Alive, she's probably 60 or 61 right now, but Catherine Ross, who, if you remember her from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Graduate, yeah. There's my summer of 42 right there. And I actually got to meet her. We had the science fiction, the Saturn Awards they had in Los Angeles. I was one of the presenters there about 3 months ago. And she was there with Sam Elliott. I have a story about Sam Elliott, if you all know who he is. Great actor. He's got that amazing voice. And I was living in Sydney, Australia at the time, back in '86, and I went down there to shoot a commercial. When I first moved to Los Angeles, the very first commercial audition I ever had, I booked. I'm like one of these lucky guys. When I got to Hollywood, I didn't have to bartend, wait tables, be a bouncer, or anything. I've worked since day one since I got to Hollywood, but it wasn't until 93 when Hercules hit. But I was able to keep alive. I didn't have to sell myself on Hollywood Boulevard or anything. But I was shooting a commercial down there. And I decided to stay for 6 months. So I lived in Bondi Beach for 6 months. But I got to the hotel they put me in for this one particular commercial was the same hotel that Sam Elliott was staying in. He gets on the elevator with me, and I just finished working out, and I was in really good shape back then. And he's kind of looking at me because I just had a tank top on. He's going, "You doing a little crew?" And I said, "No, I wasn't doing any rowing. I was just doing a little run." And he started talking to me, asking me where I was from in the States, and I was asking where he's from in the States, and he invited me to go sailing with him over the weekend. He said, "Look, I'm down here, you're down here, let's go a little sailing." And got to know him. By the third day, I confided in him that I had a huge crush on his wife. And he just said, "Get in line." So, so all these years later, I'm at the Saturn Awards, and I present, and he and his wife were sitting right down over here at this table over here. And after I did the presentation, I walked down and did some photos and back and came back around the stage during a commercial break to talk to him and his wife, and they knew me from Hercules and Andromeda. But I looked at him, I said, "Sam, you met me." And he looked at me and said, "What do you mean we met?" And I said, "1986, King's Crossing at the Siebel Townhouse." He goes, "We went sailing together." I said, "That was me." Freaked him out. He had no, they don't know. I got a number of stories like that with very famous people in Hollywood, and it was kind of fun to meet him. And I finally met her, and I told her the story, and she was very gracious and very nice, and it was fun. I'm just like you guys as well. You like to meet people that you admire, and like to meet people you see on TV or movies or whatever else in sport, athletic endeavors, and I get the same way. And I'm always amazed when people come up to me that know me that I've like all my life. I was at the '96 Academy Awards, and I was at the party afterwards, a big party, big red carpet, and all these limos pulling up, and I was there with my entertainment lawyer, and I saw Tom Hanks. And I said to my lawyer, I said, "David, there's Tom Hanks." I said, "I'd really like to meet him. I'm a big fan." I couldn't get that out, and all of a sudden, tap, 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 I turn on, it's Tom Hanks. And he says, "Kevin Sorbo, hi, I'm Tom Hanks. I just want to meet you. I love Hercules." Swear to God, true story. And he says, I just have to ask you, are you on every single day on every channel? Because in America, you could, I know you guys have had frustration over here with Andromeda, with the timing and the show not airing or airing, but Hercules was on basically, if you had cable, you could see it 9 times a week. It was just saturated. Even if you didn't watch the show, you knew about the show. So it was kind of neat. It was a fun experience to meet him. So there you go.
Are there any practical jokers on set, and have you fallen foul of any of the pranks?
There's a lot of practical jokes that happen on set. It happens pretty much every day. I've been very lucky now to be involved with 2 different series that I love going to work every day. I'm a workaholic to begin with. I have an A personality. I'm always busy. Anybody involved in my life knows that. They may try to slow me down, but they give up pretty quickly. My wife just says, "Go." She knows she can't slow me down. it's hard to pick one particular joke. We do probably the biggest one would be Gordon. Gordon is just he reminds me so much of Michael Hurst, and I've told him that he is. Hercules was the same way. Just the fun in the show, the people that we worked with, the crew we worked with. I think I had one of the nicest compliments in season 6 of Hercules. I had a director, first-time director, walk up to me and says, "You guys are on your season 6 of the show, and your crew still likes you." He says, "That's amazing," you know. And I don't think it's just hats off to me. I think it's hats off to everybody that is around me and everybody I work with. I try to keep it loose on the set. I try to keep it fun on the set. You work long hours. It's long days. People have no idea until they get on the set. You work 12 to 14 hours every day on our television. Joe Pesci's a very dear friend of mine, and I've known Joe since 1990. I do a lot of golf with Joe. When I first booked Hercules, he said, "You're fucked," is what he told me. Pardon, that's Joe's quote, because that's the way he talks in real life, just like his movies. Because he said, "You'll never work harder in your life." He said, "Our television is much harder than any sitcom and much harder than any movie you do, just because of the sheer hours you put in, especially if it goes for 6, 7 seasons like that." And it's just, we have a lot of laughs on the set. We just have a blast. I mean, everybody I work with is cool and fun, and I still make it a habit to call any co-star that's coming on the show for the first time to introduce myself and say, "I'm Kevin Sorbo, I'm Captain Dylan Hunt, or I'm Hercules," whatever show it was, and I just want to welcome him to the show. And it was the response I would get from other actors was always very funny, because, and especially from Hercules, because I was down in New Zealand, I would call back to the States, and whoever the co-star coming down, and you'd always get, "This is really Kevin Sorbo?" I go, "Yeah," and I go, because they don't get that kind of treatment from other people on the show, and I just want people to feel relaxed and come on there and have fun, and I think it shows in the shows that we do, that we have a good time. And there was speculation of a 5th season on Andromeda, and I think it was this big power play between the Canadian studio and the American studio, and I was never really worried about it coming back, but people were still playing that game, and all the actors were all worried about it. But we did finally come back, obviously. We're well into shooting it, and we got about 90% of our crew back, even though they kept putting things on. And I think that's just, it tells that they enjoyed the show. I mean, these guys, they needed to pay their mortgage too, like anybody else, and they stuck it out an extra 6 weeks before they gave us the okay. And I think it's just sort of a hats off to the reality of the camaraderie we have on the set. And it's, to get back to the practical jokes, it's just stuff that goes all the time. And you guys will see the blooper reel. They're putting together right now an amazing blooper reel. And they showed us it about 3 weeks ago at a dinner. And we were just crying with tears. It was so funny. It was just so hilarious. Because I forgot about some of these things we do. We do such stupid things. Okay, one that just came to mind. We just shot it this year, and I'm in a room with Rade and Becca Valentine, and the Andromeda has been taken over. We're only 3 people left on the ship. We're in this different universe now, and I remembered back 300 and some years ago that in a panel in my office I had put a bunch of force lances just in case. Well, unbeknownst to me, the funny crew guys, the prop guys, I get down on my one knee and I take it off, and I'm looking back at them. I look back. There's a Hercules wig. There was a sword, and there was this very large black dildo. So I kept a straight face. I kept pulling each item out, and when I pulled out the dildo, I didn't start laughing yet. I just looked at it and I said, "It's a long story. I limped for a week." And we're hoping they won't keep it in the show, but hopefully they'll put it in the blooper reel, because I think it'll be very funny to keep in the blooper reel.
Which episode are you most proud of, and which episode are you most ashamed of Andromeda?
Of Andromeda.
Yeah.
Which one am I most proud of?
Yeah.
See, questions like that, because it's like saying, "What's your most favorite movie?" It's hard for me to give a favorite movie, because I have like 20 that I just love and I can watch over and over again. Which one I'm most ashamed of? Well, that might be easier. There was an episode that we used. It was in season 1, I believe. This is the one I'm most ashamed of, and it dealt with these fish people that wore these sort of lungs and stuff. I can't remember what it's even called anymore. What is it? That's it. The Great Neptune's Ocean thing. And it was a director that's really good. They actually blamed him for that. The director gets blamed for a lot of stuff. And Al Harmon was the director. It was his first time directing. Al Harmon was our first assistant director on the first 4 seasons. And he did other episodes after that were just brilliant, that I thought he did a great job with. He's one of the few directors that incorporates a lot of movement in scenes, which I like. When I did episodes of Hercules, that's one thing I was look for, was I don't care if the camera can just stay right here, but I want the actors to move. I want to look like it's like a play. And that one just didn't work. And that was one of the problems with this. It just wasn't a strong script. And you can't... I mean, I've seen amazing actors with bad scripts, and then makes them look bad too. I mean, really, writing is the toughest job. I mean, it's these guys take a lot of crap from the production side of it, but it's the hardest job. There's no question. And as far as like my favorite episode, the ones I really like, there's a couple in there that I liked Ouroboros. I brought that up before to other people. I thought that was a fun episode. I like. Part 1 of the part 2 of the 2-part season finale. I like part 1 quite a bit. Episode 421. See, I remember them by numbers more than I remember them from titles. But that's all I can really tell you. It's just from there.
As a fan, I would say that Mad to Be Saved would be the worst one you've ever done.
Mad to Be Saved?
Yeah.
Really?
Brains in a box.
Yeah. Well, we had fun with that. I know. I can see what you're saying. But we had. We had fun with certain scenes in there, though. But you're right. We had a difficult time with the concept of it. And when I think it's with Tyr and I go into the ship when they're losing their oxygen or whatever. And the biggest problem I had with fighting with not only the prop department, was the studio let me get away with this, is these spacesuits they put us in. Now, this is 9,000 years in the future, and we look like we're landing on the moon in 1969. I said, use some visual effects. I mean, we should just be able to put a little tube in our mouth and press a button, and magically a little, protective shield goes around us. To wear this cumbersome thing, and it's gone. I don't know. You didn't see it in season 4. You won't see it in season 5, because I said, no, it's gone. It just got to a point. It's ridiculous, And don't worry, we'll get Harper laid. Okay, we'll get Harper laid.
On the subject of Hercules, what was it like working with, you had Anthony Quinn as Zeus and Meg Foster as Hera, and many other
It's vodka.
many other wonderful guest stars. What was it like working with them?
We'll start with Anthony Quinn. I'm sorry he passed away. He passed away very quickly. He got pneumonia and died very quickly, and went very easily when I talked to his wife, Kathy, about that. Initially, it was going to be Charlton Heston. That's who we had talked with. I got to meet with Charlton Heston, who I was a big fan of. I love like the Omega Man. I mean, now this is a crowd here that should appreciate that movie. That's a great movie. Isn't that awesome? I want to redo that. I like to since we're redoing everything anyway. Anthony was a pleasure to work with. I mean, he's from that old guard of Hollywood. He's worked with everybody. Laurence Olivier, Marlon Brando. He knows all those guys. He got to meet all those guys. He had dinner with these guys. He was on stage with these guys, and to listen to him talk, because we had dinner at least 2 to 3 times a month. We went to dinner a lot. And he was down there for probably about 7.5 months during the first year down there with me. And I'm going to tell a story about him that's interesting. Yeah, but I'll get to that in a second. But Anthony was a true professional, and I love the fact that at the time, he died at 86. I think he was 78 years old when he came down to play the part. And he was more right for the part because of the humor the show had, and he understood that. And here's a guy who's done everything, and he wanted to play the king of gods. It fed to his ego. He had a very large ego, and I don't think that's a bad thing. He had a large ego, and I think you have to have an ego about anything you do in your life if you want to be successful at it, and confident in what you're doing. And he would come into, I'd either go into his camp or he'd come into mine before we started any scene of any day, And he'd open the script and he goes, "This is crap," and he would just with a magic marker just get rid of this. And I was, obviously I was intimidated. He called everybody darling. I was darling. And I never called him Tony once. He wanted me to call him Tony. I call him Mr. Quinn all the time. He goes, "Please, Tony." I said, "Yes, Mr. Quinn." You can't. How do you call a guy? I mean, he's done how many hundreds of films? He's been nominated for 6 Academy Awards. He's won 2. Anyway, I got all the stories about working on Lawrence of Arabia and Heavyweight for Requiem and all these great stories I heard from him firsthand. I get goosebumps talking about it. I'm not kidding. It was incredible. And he would come in there and say, he would break down the scene as you're supposed to do as an actor. You look at a scene, and what is a scene about? Most scenes are either about power or they're about love. And that's what they are. A love scene is if you want something from somebody, if you care about somebody, it's considered a love scene. A power scene is if what it is. But that's what scenes are, basically broken down into 2 lumps. And you have to figure out what that scene's about. He would come in there and he would not only break down the scene with me, but then he would tell me about what he may or may not say. I'm scared shitless, pardon me. But I'm sitting there and he goes, "I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to say. And then you'll think of something, won't you, darling?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is what I have to do." Okay. But what it does is, as an actor, what acting is reacting to the other person. I'm a big fan of the Meisner technique. I'm not a big fan for method. I find method way too self-indulgent. And Meisner, to me, is real life. It's us sitting right here and you nodding to me, listening to me. It's reacting to the person, having a real reaction to what that person is doing to you. And he did that to me. He made me listen. I mean, here I am. I got this part. I'm playing Hercules, and I thought, how cool is that? I'm playing this god that I read about when I was in 7th grade. And we'd get on the set, and the directors, there's one director, poor guy. He'd come in there, and he was a big Anthony Quinn fan. He'd come in there, "Mr. Quinn, I want you to, you're going to come in over here through the barn door, and then Kevin will be over here, and he's putting this over the horse, and you're going to say this and say," and Quinn would let him talk for 10 minutes. And Quinn would go, "Yeah, I will sit right here the entire scene." They've just lit it, because he wouldn't come in for a rehearsal. And so this is where I'm going to sit. I would not do this. And he gave good reasons why he wouldn't do that. And you couldn't argue with that. The director had a vision, but Quinn felt, "I'm enough. I don't need to do that." And that was fine for me. I mean, like I said, I like to have movement and do things like that. That's one reason on Andromeda, we don't have chairs. I know in all the other Star Trek shows, the deck has chairs. The whole idea for Andromeda was set up to be like a naval ship in the U.S. Navy. There's no chairs when you're on the control deck. All the officers and all the people up there driving that big boat are standing, and they walk to their stations. There are no chairs up there. And that's why, give you a little insight of our command center, that's why it's set up that way. So this director, this poor guy, I know I'm babbling for a long time, but this is too funny once you get on Quinn. I can't help it. This one director, Quinn got to hate him so much. He hated him, and this guy he was so wanted to impress Anthony Quinn, and so wanted him to be pleased by his directing. And so he tells Quinn on another scene, he says, "Remember in Lawrence of Arabia when you rode over that sand dune and you took Acuba? I want you to do that." Quinn looks at him and says, "I do not repeat my work." So this guy keeps stabbing himself, just stabbing himself. And we had another guy that looked very similar to the director. They had the same type of beard, they were the same age, same amount of gray hair. And he walks by one day, and Quinn and I are sitting there in our chairs, we're going over our lines, and he looks up, and he sees him walk by, and he goes, "Kevin, is that the guy that I hate?" And I said, "No, that's Doug. You like Doug." He goes, "Okay." But very quick with the story. I got to tell you the story. I had dinner with him quite often. Eric Grundeman, very good friend of mine, he was one of the producers on Hercules. He was the only guy in New Zealand with me, the other American with me all the time. He became a very good friend. He still is a very good friend. He and I would take Anthony to dinner. And as one occasion, we took his wife, Yolanda, before he left her for his 34-year-old assistant. I always tell Anthony, you were 52 when she was born. Anyway, it was. So we're out at this very nice little restaurant in Auckland, and Anthony looks at Yolanda. He says, "Yolanda, go to the bathroom." And Yolanda says, no, you want to talk about girls again? I know you do. You're going to talk about girls. He says, go to the bathroom. She stands up. She shuffles away. You always send me to the bathroom when you want to talk about girls. She walks away. And Quinn, I'm sitting over here. He watches her walk away. And he looks at me and goes, Kevin, tell me about this G-spot thing. True story. I said, Anthony, you had 15 kids. You don't know what the G-spot is? I said, good Lord. But it's a story. I love telling the story because it was just one of those surreal moments. This is Anthony Quinn talking about the G-spot. But there you go. We couldn't find a subject to show. Gave me a little clue with bringing up some of these auction items here. Where's Brian? Is he around here? You know what? I've got a few items here that I want to that I love to auction off, and part of the proceeds will go for World Fit for Kids, and the other part will go to a local charity here in London, and I forgot the name of it. What's it called?
Bliss. Bliss.
You guys know what Bliss is? Good. Good. It's Bliss is the charity. Thank you. I do crew gifts every year for my crew, and I always make a couple extra. So I have the first 4 years of crew gifts up here behind me, and I will show them one at a time, 1 year at a time. I have a story behind each one, and the very first season, as you know, I have a weapon called a Force Lance. And Force Lance is, yes, it is what it is, what it looks like. And every episode I pull it out to the female guest star of the day. And have you seen my Force Lance? And I do it always on camera. I pull it out and say, have you seen my Force Lance? So first season, the crew loved it. I mean, if by the fourth day of a new episode I hadn't said it to the female lead guest star, they'd all go, "Are you going to show your Force Lance, man? Come on." Because they loved it. They just like me pulling it out. And this season 5, I have 2. I got the double Force Lance going. So I got... Yes, I'm moving up in the world. But anyway, I don't make that many of them. And the cruise, runs about 175 people. And I always make about 10 to 15 extra of everything for events like this, for charities like this. So you're looking at something that has less than 200 of them in the world. And it's contained all in Vancouver. You'd be the only one wearing it here in London. So the first thing I made was a set of boxer shorts. And this is actually just as the way, this is still wrapped in the same, this is the original wrapping. This is how we handed them out. We made it nice and simple to each crew member. And I have a little Albert Schweitzer quote on here that I gave everybody, so I'm including that as well. But I think I have to show you the underwear. And, pardon? Yeah, but I think you got to show it. If that helps, then maybe I might put them on. Hold on. I need both hands for this. So, the boxer shorts. It's got the Andromeda logo on the front there, and then on the back it says, "Have you seen my Force Lance?" So there you go. So, I know, he's shaking his head over here at me. These are extra large, by the way. These are extra large. I know what you meant by that, but mine are extra, extra large. Anyway. So I would have no idea where to even begin the bidding on this. If you guys want to be part of this, I would love you to. It's going to go to 2 wonderful charities. Mine services inner city teens, which become mentors to younger teens within their own community. And we're actually talking to a London-based company here to get the program going over here as well. And we'll see what happens there, and the other 50% will go to Bliss here in London.
Okay, and just so you know, Sarah's at the back. Once you've succeeded in a bid, she's there with her hand up. That's where you go to give her your details. So, seeing as Kevin's got them in his hands, who is going to give him?
You gonna do the bidding? You gonna do the bidding?
Well, we can do it together, but somebody's got to start. This is bargain hunt or bargain boxers.
Go for it. Throw me out a number. Somebody throw me out a number.
£10.
£10 we got.
Yeah, stick with pounds. It's
stick
easy.
with pounds.
I'll give you an idea when that is in dollars when you start to look nervous.
10 pounds, $20, okay? What is it? 50 pounds.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's about $85.
What's that?
She's 50.
No, she went
15,
50. 50,
50.
right?
Okay.
What do we got?
60.
60 over there, okay. Don't be shy. Stand up, yell it out, blurt it out.
60 pounds. What's the guy's name?
I've only done this one other time. I did it at a Tulsa convention, so it's been 3 and a half years since I've sold one of these. Otherwise, the rest are in my vault at home.
Don't force me to say 1, 2, and 3, and then somebody else shout out another number. Okay, 60 pounds. Once. 70 pounds.
70 pounds.
Okay, 70 pounds. Who's going to say 80 before I have to say 1?
What's it? 80 pounds back there.
I'm sure he'll be willing to take a picture with the person who wins the bidding. But the person who wins the bidding has to put him on. Okay, it's got to be worth more than 80 pounds just for that. 90.
You got 90?
Okay, 100.
Oh, 100.
Okay, now we're into
you
3 digits.
Butt, is that it?
Okay. 100 going once. 125.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
125.
Beautiful.
Going once at 125.
And if you want them signed by one of us 3 guys here, or not at all, it's up to you. We'll do that as well.
Do they get to choose where it's signed?
Sure. Sure.
It's got to be worth more.
What's that?
Steve is bidding at the back, I hear. Is that... Was that
Hey, Steve.
Was
Steve?
that 200, Steve?
Steve, you're fired.
Okay, 125.
That's funny.
Sorry? And no, not for 125. You don't get to take them off.
Yeah, you do. You can go and take them off.
She hasn't won yet.
125 going once. Going twice. Sold 125.
Yay. Just the boxers. It sort of takes the romance out of things, doesn't it? Okay. Okay. They become your property as soon as you see Sarah down the back.
Next one.
I thought the next one was a G-string.
Sorry. Now, don't worry. I open umbrellas and buildings. I don't believe in that bad luck thing. So if you don't want to, then don't worry about it. It's my bad luck. I open them all the time. It rains a little bit in Vancouver. And
rains a lot in St. Andrews, too.
That's right. It does. And so my next season gift actually was an umbrella I gave out. And it was a good laugh with the crew because they kept saying, it never rains here. It never rains here. And of course it rains in Vancouver, but you know, it wasn't something that really bothered me that much. So on one side we have the Andromeda logo. It went over great with the crew. On the other side it says, it never rains in space. And what's funny about the Vancouver people, they live there, and yet half of them don't have umbrellas. I mean, most of the crew said, I've always meant to get an umbrella. Thank you, I finally got one. So I thought it was kind of a neat and fun little gift, and it went over well with everybody. Try to get the logo up there. So anyway, let's start the bidding. We'll get this thing going. So you guys, I know you guys want some things signed, and we'll sign them for you. And we can sign this too, whoever wants that one. 50 pounds. 75 over here. 100 pounds. 125. What is it? Whoa, 150. 175. 200. 200 going once. Whoa, 225. 225 going once. 230.
You're doing better without me. I'm staying quiet.
230 going once. All three will sign it, yes. We all forged his signature anyway. Okay, you're hired. He's back. 250. 250 going once. 250 going twice. Sold 250.
It's raining men.
That's right. Thank you so
Okay,
much. We'll
don't
start
forget to
going
go
on,
to
okay?
Sarah.
Do you want the protective covering for this? You think that's big?
Just
you
beware,
guys think this is
Sarah
a
will
leg.
tackle you at the door if you try to leave without paying.
Okay, season 3. I went a little bit more practical. But what we did, hold on here, is dealing with future and time and stuff. This is a combination clock and a calendar, and there goes the pen, and it's it's a nice thing on your desk. I have it on my desk. I have it. It's on my desk in my house in Vancouver. It's got the Andromeda logo on there. This thing goes up, and it says bottom there. It says there's no time like the future. And you open it up. Oh, this is even working. You're gonna have to change the time there. But it gives you the date, gives you time all up here. It gives you times in London, Paris, Cairo, Karachi, Bangkok, Hong Kong, Sydney, Wellington, Honolulu. It gives them all. Los Angeles, Chicago. It's got all kinds of them in there. And half the crew's got them on the set actually, leaving their office there in their little cubicle. So there you go. So we'll start the bidding on like 20 pounds, huh? Anybody? Back there, 20 pounds? 30? 40? 50? And once again, everybody can sign this. Or just me. You might not want Steve's. So we got 50 so far,
Yeah,
right?
when you learn to write, we'll be happy for you.
Right. Hey, gringo. Steve, I want to see your papers. Aren't you from Mexico? Steve swam over the Rio Grande, came through Texas. We had 50 was last, right? 50, was that it? 50 going once? Going twice? 60. 60 going once. What is it? 70 going once. What do you say, 80? 80 going once? 85 going once, twice? Sold 85 back there. I want to make sure you got the original gift wrapping and the quote that went along with that, So it's a nice little quote. Okay, last item. Oh, God, somebody else threw something else in here. Oh, it's a signed script. Is that a script from the whole? 4 seasons. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's missing from that? Oh, you know what? Yeah, anyway. Season 4. I made jerseys for everybody. And I wanted to be like a baseball jersey, like American baseball jersey. And well, this is what it looks like. You got the ship in front, CY Commonwealth year, 2003. And then in the back, got Team Andromeda, season 4. This went over big with the guys because most of the guys that work on the show, they always wear like Deadhead shirts and stuff, and so they love this. This is really dressing up for those guys, the heavy metal band members. That's why they usually wear ripped up T-shirts. So they love wearing this, and there isn't somebody on the set who doesn't wear this every day. Somebody wears it season 5 so far, so it's been kind of nice, and the crew's very nice. Anyway, let's start the bidding. Somebody throw me out a number. This one is a large. It's a large. What's that? From the back? Cool. And there's the ship flying right into your face. It would be painful. So what do we hear? Throw me a number. 20 pounds? 30? 35? 40? 50? 60? 70? 75? 80 together here. 85? 90? 95? 100? 110? 115? 120? 125? 130? Wow, 150 right here. Okay.
You scared her. Okay, now that mystery bidder from somewhere come out of 155 and ruin her day. Yes.
160. 170. 200. 210. 220. 230.
If these were two guys now, we'd know what was happening here.
260. I'll tell you what. Are you here tomorrow as well?
We got 260 for both or one.
Is everybody here tomorrow?
Yes.
I don't want you to be here.
Hey, he fired you, we didn't.
I'm talking about some of the. I have some duplicate on. I actually brought a couple more of these. Only one other jersey with. I don't know if we want to do it tomorrow. We'll do it right now.
Well, no. If they're both at the same, just basically, unless there's a third bidder, you can do both now.
Well, what were you at? And you were at what was yours last bid?
Well, if you both come
if you both
halfway,
go to 250,
well, go 255.
You go no. You go
halfway.
250. You go to no. We'll bring it back down to the last bid, and I get one for you and one for you.
All right. So 250
Okay.
going once.
You be tomorrow?
Twice. Yes.
Okay.
Sold to the two ladies.
Okay. I'll bring yours tomorrow. Is that okay? Because she was the last bid. Thank you so much. Very kind of you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very nice.
You can have your hug tomorrow when you get yours too.
Going on. Well, we got Steve's on here. No, we don't have Steve's because he wasn't in this episode. I don't think. Sorry, man.
I thought you said you were in every episode.
It was Harper Delete.
It's Lexa.
That's Lisa Ryder. That is our signatures are so bad. I thought mine was bad. Everybody else is worse than me. We got Lexa Doyle, we got Lisa Ryder, we got me, we got Laura Bertram, and we got Gordon Michael Wolbert. So it's a script that called Harper Delete, written by Naomi Jansen, who I think is one of the better writers on the show.